Welcome to Watch and Learn. I'm Kim Sandberg. With me today is Christina Whitney, and we are here to talk about redwork.
Yes.
So Christina, tell us a little bit about redwork. What is redwork?
So redwork is usually in the past done by hand using a thick colored thread.
Okay.
Traditionally it's been red, hence the name redwork.
Right.
It was really popular from about 1855 to about 1925.
Okay.
And it's becoming more popular again.
Right.
So again, the red was traditionally the color because that's what dyes were available.
Okay.
But now we're finding that we can do other colors.
Right. So far.
And so I love the look of the redwork.
Yeah. It's just heavy thread on a white background, right? Really? I mean, that's the basic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I am not a huge hand stitcher.
Yeah, me either.
My embroidery skills or my, I don't
Hand
even know if
stitching?
embroidery is the right word to use. My hand stitching is not the best.
It is embroidery. I know my grandma did a lot of red work, and yeah, but I agree with you. Like, I want to put my long arm to work because I like using my long arm. So
Yes.
so
we've got this fabulous quilt here
I know, this is
using
so great.
green color. And it looks like the pro stitcher was put to work on this one.
I think so, definitely.
And
We've got a great design here, and it is just amazing how this thread really pops. So what kind of thread do you think this is, this green thread here?
I am guessing that this is a really heavyweight thread, like a So Sassy maybe from Superior Threads, or it could possibly be two threads together.
Yeah. Oh,
And-
I didn't even consider that. Yeah, it totally could be.
And we're going to show some experiment later on
Yeah.
and show the difference between some of those.
The different threads,
Yeah.
exactly, exactly. And this quilt, I mean, this quilt really is about the quilting. The way that it's quilted,
Yeah.
the quilting just really pops. You can even see that on the borders out here, they even stitched, it was stitched in a contrasting color so that it really shows up. Although this is a lighter weight thread than this is. So a little different. It's a pretty cool one. You have another project that you did not too long ago. It's actually the quilt hanging here behind us. Why don't you tell us about this one?
This is one of my grandmother's scraps, the quilts that I've put together with it. And
Wow.
I was wanting to play with this whole concept of red work on the long arm. So I did it so that I would have solid blocks that
Right.
I could do this work in.
It's gorgeous.
So what did we figure out how to pronounce it?
It's lapis, right?
Lapis.
Like the lapis lazuli, it's a blue gemstone, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I name my quilts, I just don't know how to pronounce them properly. So that was a really fun one. And
Yeah.
I played with the Pro Stitcher and just filled in those blocks. And it really adds to it. If you saw the quilt
Before.
without the blue stitching on it, it makes a huge difference.
Yeah. It really gives it a focal point. I absolutely love how you did that. It's so fun. And you know, the rest of the quilting on it, you can see that you just used a blender thread, and it just, all it does is just puts a little texture on it. It is all about that blue,
Yep.
that beautiful blue design. It's gorgeous.
Yeah, with busy prints like all of those fabrics, you're not going to see the stitching. So just something simple, and
Yeah.
then keep the focus in the negative space.
Yeah, where you
So-
can see it. So
Okay.
should we pull out your
Let's-
project here?
Yeah, you've got it over there.
Okay.
So this was my little experiment. Woohoo! Okay. So this is our patriotic theme. I'm going to have you hold that
Okay.
corner, and we can get it up there. And I wanted to do something with the actual red, but I was trying to decide which type of thread I wanted to use. So this one, I've got 4 white blocks, and each one has a different thread in it. And so I started out, this heart one over here was the first one I did, and I used a metallic thread.
Okay, so let's talk about metallic threads for a minute. So it has some sparkle.
It does have some sparkle, and it is a 40 weight.
Okay, so fairly heavy.
Yeah. So I did that one first because I already had a needle on my machine that was a 16 or an 18, and I didn't want to change the needle, so that's why that one was picked first. With that one though, I did slow it down a little bit.
Okay,
And I have it on a spool.
right.
So I used the horizontal spool pin, which turns the thread horizontal.
Exactly.
Hence the name, horizontal spool pin.
Horizontal spool pin.
And so if you watch the stitching out of it, you can see it. I didn't take it up through the thread mask. I just took it through the first thread guide.
Okay.
And I just had the machine threaded as normal.
Okay.
I did loosen the tension a little bit more because this is a little bit finickier thread. So that was
a little more delicate.
Yeah, delicate. That's the word I was looking for. Okay. So that's how that one stitched out. You can see it.
Yeah, let's watch that stitching out here.
Okay.
Well, that was pretty cool watching that stitch out. So let's move on to the next one. Yeah.
Okay, so the next one, again, I didn't want to change my needle yet, so I had glitter thread.
Okay. You did this Liberty Bell.
Yes, and this one I upped my, or actually I lowered my stitches per inch.
Okay.
So that it would be a longer stitch so that the glitter thread would lay on the fabric a little bit more.
Gotcha.
And give it more of that sparkle. So the glitter thread and the metallic thread were pretty similar.
Yeah.
As far as like the overall look of the two.
Let's take a look where we can see both of those. We can see that they both show up, but as you pull away and we get a little farther away from you, kind of lose that red color a little bit, don't you?
Yeah, it doesn't really pop as much as I had wanted.
Yeah.
It has that sparkle, but not that pop.
Exactly.
Okay.
So let's watch the, actually the Liberty Bell, right, is the one.
We'll stitch out this Liberty Bell.
With the glitter.
With the glitter thread. Again, it was on the horizontal spool pin. I did about 10 stitches per inch.
Okay.
And again, looser tension.
All right, well, we've finished stitching that one out. So
wasn't that fabulous?
That was fabulous.
I didn't even break a thread.
I know, good job, good job. So what's the next one you stitched?
So the next one I stitched was this top hat.
Okay.
Oh, it actually is a top hat.
It's the top, it's the top hat. I love it.
The top block is the hat, and this one I used a So Sassy.
Okay.
And the threads that I used for this project were all from Superior Threads.
Okay.
So the So Sassy is a 12 weight.
It's a 12 weight thread and it comes on a spool also. So
yes.
Did you use the horizontal spool pin on this one?
I did.
Okay.
Yep. And this one, I did have some overstitching, which actually laid down more thread.
Yeah.
But I really like the look of it.
I know. This one really, to me, looks like the most like traditional red work here. You know, just thinking of the stuff that like my grandma would hand stitch with embroidery floss. Yeah.
Yeah.
And a 12 weight. So did you have to make any other changes to your machine? Like what stitch length did you use?
I did. This one, I did the stitch length about 12 stitches per inch, I believe.
Okay.
And I threaded the machine the same, but I had to change my needle.
Right, because there's no way that thread's making it through a 16.
Yes. So I actually changed it to a size 20 needle.
Ooh, that's a big needle.
So if you look on the packaging, it says size 20. So that's probably hard to see, but that's where you would look on your package.
Okay.
So I used a size 20 needle. And this is actually the same thread that I used on
your lapis quilt?
Yeah, the lapis quilt.
Your grandma's scrap quilt?
You saw my eyes panic. I'm going to pronounce it wrong.
I got you covered. I got you covered.
Excellent.
The lapis.
Okay. Yeah, so I really, really enjoy the So Sassy thread. One tip though is that since the thread is so thick, there's not as much thread on one spool.
Right.
So when I started the lapis quilt,
Back here.
I had one spool of thread, and normally one spool of thread to stitch out that many blocks is no problem.
Yeah.
I don't think I even finished a whole row and I was out of thread.
I remember you called me because I
were in St. George.
I was
like,
in
go
St.
get
George.
Me more.
So I brought back the thread. I was the hero on that one.
You saved the quilt.
So let's watch this one. Let's go ahead and watch the top hat stitch out, shall we?
I really like that one.
So what's your last thread experiment here? I love that you kind of did a little bit of an experiment.
I did. One thing I do want to note though, just because it popped into my head, with the glitter thread on this bell, I forgot to mention that I actually threaded it a little bit different on the 3-hole guide.
Oh, okay.
So instead of spiraling around like a barber pole like we normally do with all of our threads, since this is a flat thread, I just wove it back and forth and through. So less tension and less spinning. So it helped to keep the thread flat.
Less chances of the thread breaking.
Yes, and I didn't have any breaking.
Which is awesome.
That's always a good day.
Yes, it is.
Okay, so the star.
The star.
We're excited for the star.
Let's take a look at the star here.
So the star, I did another technique where I took 2 spools of thread.
Awesome.
And I threaded them through the machine together and through the same needle.
Now, are they the same thread?
These are the same thread.
Okay.
So if you're trying this technique, I do recommend doing the same weight of thread to begin. When you get a lot more confident with your tensioning, you can try different threads through the same needle.
And did you have to use a different needle with the 2 threads?
I used the same size 20 needle that I used with the So Sassy.
Okay, because these are both which weight?
So these are So Fine 30 weight.
Okay, so they're a heavier thread.
Yes, they are a heavier thread. But yeah, so 2 threads through that same needle, and this is the effect that I got.
It looks a lot like the So Sassy.
It does.
I gotta say, it's that nice, thick. So I think this is a good way if you don't have any of the heavier weight, that So Sassy, that 12 weight thread, you can use 2 lighter weight threads together and get kind of that same effect. It looks really good.
Yeah.
Let's watch this one stitch out.
Okay.
All right, so we've watched all of them stitch out. Now the big question is, which one's the winner here? What do you think?
Well, let's hold it up so our viewers can see the full thing.
Okay.
And we'll kind of zoom in.
So.
And they can see which one shows up the best. So there's our
top
So
hat.
Sassy.
Yeah.
The 12 weight. That is our metallic in the heart.
Okay.
Then we have the 2 So Fine 30 weights in one needle in the star. And then the bell is our glitter thread.
Yeah.
I know which one's my favorite.
So, okay, so I think we can talk about that. Now let's go ahead and lay this down. So which one's your favorite?
My favorite was the So Sassy.
You know what? I got to agree with you on that one. I think that the sparkle of the glitter and the metallic is really fun. And the heaviness of this one is nice, but I feel like you got a little bit of a cleaner stitch, like
Yes.
more definition with the So Sassy.
And it was easier to thread the needle.
Okay. It's always about making it easier, right?
Yes.
Oh, I think this is so great. Now let's just take a second and talk about what other thread did you use to quilt the rest of this? Because I know somebody's going to ask, so what thread did you use to quilt the rest of it?
So the rest of it, I just used a So Fine 50 weight.
Okay.
So it's a little bit finer thread, not super fine, but it blends a lot better. And I just used my regular 12 stitches per inch and did a pro stitcher motif in each one of the stars, and then just free motion some loops and stars in the border.
Perfect.
And I actually am planning to add some more thread on this.
Oh, really? So what are you going to do? I'm
So
excited
it
to
is
see.
already bound
Right.
and labeled.
We are so proud. Look at that.
Look at that, I already have a label on it.
Christina has a label right there on the quilt. We have to document that because, you know,
The one behind us doesn't have the label on it yet.
it's still safety pinned on, right?
Yes.
From Academy 2
years
years ago.
Hey, baby steps.
That's right. That's right. We're getting there. We're getting there. So, okay, so
so
you've got more plans for this one. So what are we doing?
Yes. So I can attach this onto my leader.
Right.
Because where I want to stitch is going to be this background in the white.
Oh, okay.
I want to do some micro quilting or just some kind of a background
Right
fill to actually help those redwork designs pop a little bit more and hold this fabric down flatter.
And what color thread are you planning on using for that?
Because I don't want that to be the focus, I want the redwork to be popping, I'm just going to use a white thread.
Okay, perfect, perfect. Well, this has really been fun. It's been so much fun to watch you stitch this out. And just a note, so these designs are ones that Christina digitized herself in Pro Stitcher Designer, and she stitched them out with her Pro Stitcher. And they're not available. They're her personal designs that she created for this quilt, just so everybody knows. Sorry. But
If you have enough money and you want them. No, I'm just totally joking.
side business.
We will work on getting them available
Yeah.
through one of the digitizing
Yeah.
companies. So.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. But as of right now, just so everybody knows, Christina digitized them herself for her own little project here. So, well, this has been so much fun. We hope that you've really enjoyed following our experiment with thread. And I shouldn't say our. I just watched Christina do it. Christina's experiment with thread.
Mental support. And my pronunciation coach.
Lapis. It's lapis.
Lap, like laugh. Now I'll remember.
I'll remember. Well, thanks for joining us. We hope that this has inspired you to give maybe a thread that you haven't tried before. Give it a chance on your next project. And maybe you want to try some of this redwork for a project that you have coming up. It really is fun to do. Yep. So be sure to give our video a like, subscribe to our channel, join us again next week, and most of all, have fun quilting.